appreciate the whole group being with us tonight. Christy's going to remind me, of course, to let you know that we record these meetings for adult leaders who are not able to join us tonight. So the recording has started, and we'll have that information posted on the website for Pipsico under the resources tab for anyone who needs it after the meeting. Let me just kind of go over the agenda with you for tonight of information we'd like to convey to you before we get to questions. So we're going to discuss a little bit about COVID protocols and where we are at this point. We're going to talk a little bit about the check-in packets that have been mailed to the week 1 and 2 troops. Weeks 3 and 4 will be getting those packets in the next week. And then we're going to just give you some program update on evening program based on some of the questions we've received from various members of the group. So with that, I'm going to introduce Eric Hoyter, who's our health and safety officer. Before I do that, I just want to remind people that, we are still subject to COVID being in the community and so forth. It really takes all of us to keep our camp open. A number of us, Christy and I in particular, are on some of the groups from the National Boy Scouts. There have already been some camps that have opened. There have already been some camps that have had COVID cases. There have already been some camps that have been closed by the local health department because of the widespread nature of COVID at their camp. So as a group, collectively, we can do our best to keep our camp open. If we recognize that we all have personal responsibilities, which is, checking the health of our scouts before we depart for camp, making sure we do some of the right things from a hygiene standpoint for days leading up to the departure for camp. And then understanding the camp responsibility, which is screenings upon arrival, the medical check, of course. Our program's predominantly outdoors. We do have a response plan. We do have an isolation place if somebody does come down with COVID or COVID-like symptoms. And then understanding that we have joint responsibility, which includes the arrival screening, sanitation and cleaning, your unit's helping us make sure we clean up the dining hall and wipe things down and so forth. And then what we call on the staff rigid flexibility, which is, we've got our base plan, but we're flexible enough that if something comes up and we have to pivot, that we do that as we need to. So, I remind you that your part, personal hygiene leading up to camp, to the extent people are vaccinated, that helps. Good behavior before coming to camp, staying off of airplanes and things like that, where the risk of transmission is higher. Health checks before you leave for camp, travel directly to camp, not having a lot of stops where you could expose your youth in between, our arrival screening. And then, it's your job to continuously check the health of your scouts in camp, and then to help us keep camp clean. So with that, let me turn it over to Eric.
Hi, y'all. So yeah, John just pretty much went through that slide with you. If you can just go ahead and go to the next slide, and we can talk about that. So you back up one. You may have heard about the Swiss cheese model. My school system at Chesapeake, where I live, has been talking about it a lot. And as you can see here, this actually comes from national. On the left-hand side, you can see there is a personal responsibility, as John was just talking about, and then there's camp responsibility. So, obviously practicing good hygiene, getting vaccinated if it is prudent for you to do so, and your scouts to do so, as recommended by a healthcare provider. The quarantine one is huge. Now, and here's why I say this is a big deal. I've had some opportunities over the last weekend and this upcoming Friday, particularly Saturday time period, to be going to some graduation parties, graduation events for some students that I've taught in the past. For those of you who don't know, I'm a full-time teacher in addition to doing my EMS stuff. And I've turned them down. And the reason I've turned them down, as much as I would love to go to these events and spend time with, and celebrating with my students and their families, is because of camp. Because I know I have a responsibility to make sure that I am isolating myself as much as possible from situations where I could be in close proximity with a lot of people in areas where there's potentially poor circulation, like inside of a residential house, with a lot of people coming from different areas, family traveling there and things like that for these parties. So, I'm doing my due diligence, and we're just asking for you as leaders and for you to share with your scouts to do the same thing, to just kind of put a hold on any kind of situations where they might be in close proximity with a lot of people and increase that risk, because COVID is still out there. It hasn't gone away. And then moving along the Swiss cheese model from the quarantine, you've got the cohorts. Now, Virginia Department of Health is still recommending that we do a cohort model for summer camps, and I'll explain why, and you'll see the logic behind this. In a typical summer camp situation, say for a church camp or YMCA or something like that, they have campers coming from all these different areas combining together in one cabin. So maybe there might be 14 youth and 2 counselors in a cabin together. Well, they're all coming from different areas from wherever, and they're all sharing that space together. So that is a situation where there could be a spread. Now, you all are in a good situation because you're already basically traveling as a cohort. You're traveling with your troop, and then you're arriving at camp, and you're going to be camping with your troop. So you're basically cohorting for the overnight portion, which would be our most likely risk area, is 8 hours, 9 hours in an enclosed area sleeping. That is definitely an issue. So the cohort model that the VDH recommends makes a lot of sense. For us, we kind of already do some of that cohorting. So we're cohorting for sleeping. The only thing we're not doing is the cohorting for classes like we did last year. That's really the only difference. We're just not cohorting the merit badge sessions. So I saw somebody popped into the chat about the isolation 10 days before arrival to camp. So my rough estimate is we're probably about 12 days out from week 1. So those folks, when they get out of school, if you're a week 1 person, that would be the time to start trying to limit exposure. That would not be the time to be going to places where you might be in close proximity to other people before camp. So continuing on, physical distancing is self-explanatory. Direct travel, that's the not stopping, and having like a sit-down meal at an IHOP where you could be all with a bunch of other people, and again, a poorly ventilated potentially area in close proximity. So face covering, let's talk about that. So we are not mandating the face coverings in indoor spaces right now. Our enterprise risk management team talked about it. Our camp physician, who's also our council physician, we've talked about it. So what we are saying is that everyone needs to bring face masks, and that they are a personal choice. The reason we want everybody to bring them is because if a scout shows some signs and symptoms that are concerning, we may request that they wear a face mask, and we may request that their tent buddy wear a face mask in the best interest of everyone. So that's why we're saying still bring them, even though we're not mandating that they be worn at all times. The pre-event and arrival screening, super important also. Now there is a form that is under the resource bank in the Pipsico BSA website that goes through the pre-arrival screening process and asks those critical questions. And you need to ask those questions of your scouts before even departing wherever you're departing from. We need to make sure that they have been properly screened by you before they even get in the car. That is huge, because what we don't want is somebody coming up to camp, and then we're going to ask those same questions when we get to camp. We're going to ask those same questions of everybody that arrives at camp. And so what we don't want is some surprise of asking, a scout or a camper, have you had a new onset of breathing difficulty? And they go, oh yeah, I got this weird cough that just started 2 days ago. And then suddenly now we're in a situation where we've got to decide, are we sending everyone in that car home? Are we just sending that scout home? Are we going to do, some kind of assessment there? And then it puts a whole process on hold. So, going through that pre-event and arrival screening is very important. And then you can see where the camp is doing its responsibilities there. And we're continuing to do that. All those things on the right-hand side that you see of the Swiss model, Swiss cheese model there, we are still doing. And we were doing it last year. So, the sanitation issue, making sure that those issues are taken care of. We have as much of our merit badges outdoors as possible, under shelters and things like that. Food service, we're still going to do the best that we can to make sure that you are seated in your cohorts, and that you're, next to each other and not, mixing any more than necessary. And we do have isolation plans. And if you go next slide, John, then you'll see the next slide has got the form that I was just referencing, and the website there. So there's the website. Like I said, the easiest way to find it is just go to the PipsicoBSA.com website, go to Resource Bank, and you'll see it's listed there. It's called a pre-event health screening. And this is the form we're talking about, that we want to have the campers go through before they arrive at camp and before they even leave the property, wherever you all are meeting together at. Basically, the short version of this is we are doing many of the same things we were doing last year. And the same folks who made the recommendations last year, including our council physician, was a part of it this year as well. The two most significant things that were different from last year and this year is the mandated masks, and we're not doing cohorts for merit badge sessions. Other than that, most of our other things to try to mitigate an issue is still in place. And in addition, I have requested from the Virginia Department of Health for some free rapid COVID-19 tests. Now, while they're not necessarily 100% reliable, we know that. It is another diagnostic screening tool, and it does give us another piece of information, which is critical in making decisions when I have to contact our camp physician and run things by him about what we're going to do. So as always, I'll be happy to answer questions at the end and in the chat, and I'll turn it back over to John.
Great, Eric. Thank you very much. I'm just going to add one thing to what Eric said about masks, which is if an issue should arise, as the camp director, I reserve the right to take any action I deem necessary for the safety of the scouts and the participants in the program, which could include wearing a mask in the dining hall or elsewhere if circumstances warrant. So, please have your scouts bring a mask. It's our hope that we're never in that situation, but as Eric said, we've got a very good plan. Eric is clearly on top of it, and we are raring to go here. So speaking of raring to go, as you may know, our staff starts to report this weekend. Our 18 and over report Saturday. Our under 18 report on Sunday. They'll go through a full staff week, which for many people is opaque, but let me just tell you, there's more than 30 hours of training that they will go through, in addition to all the work that they do to set up camp and to have camp ready for you. So they will be worked very diligently, and we're very excited to get them on the property. The week following that, we'll start to have our first units check in. We've tried to do a few things to enhance the check-in process this year. If you are a unit that is coming in week 1 or week 2, you should have by now received a packet in the mail, and we'll go through that packet in a few minutes. If you're a week 3 or week 4 unit, you'll be, those packets will go out in the next week and you'll receive them shortly thereafter. I'm going to go through what is included in those packets. In addition, if you're a week 1 or week 2 unit, you should have received a check-in time. If you're a week 3 or week 4 unit, you will receive check-in times tomorrow. The check-in packets, let's take a minute to talk a little bit about the check-in packets. They include several documents. The first is a tips for checking in, which we encourage you to read carefully and to follow to help us with the check-in process. The second thing that's included, I believe that's the pink form, is a list of scouts from your unit for whom we have already received allergy information.
Yes.
Ken, you're not on mute.
Sorry.
That's all right. If you have not submitted any youth with allergies, you will have received a pink form that says, we have received no information about scouts with allergies. It is very important, if you have a scout with an allergy, that you let us know this week. We need to know in advance in order to place food orders. And it is very difficult to place food orders on Sunday after you check in. The third document that you will see in the check-in pack is a how to fill out buddy tags illustration, because we have provided you your buddy tags in advance. There are 2 buddy tags. One is a white buddy tag. The other is a black rimmed buddy tag. We have 2 buddy tags because we have a pool where we use the white rimmed buddy tag, and we have a black rimmed buddy tag for the riverfront. I'm going to let Rick talk about the buddy tag process and for filling out buddy tags. Rick, if you're there, let's have you chime in. I thought I saw Rick. All right. If not, I'll take it from here. Okay. So on the buddy tag, it's pretty basic information. Many of you have seen this before. On the front of the tag, you'll put the first initial and the last name of the scout in the space in the middle of the tag. You will not color in any part of the front of the tag. That will be done upon completion of the swim test. On the back of the tag, you will put your troop number and you'll put the week that you're at camp, week 1, 2, 3, or 4. We'll fill in the campsite information once you arrive at camp. What we're trying to do, trying to achieve through this entire check-in packet is to make check-in as smooth as possible. We know that we have, and as many camps do, have the opportunity or the possibility for backups at the health screening and at the pool. But if we can take out as much of the work at each of those steps as possible, we're hoping to make it a smoother check-in process for everyone. And that is why we ask for your health forms to be handled in a particular way, as well as your allergy forms and other information to be provided in a particular way, which is described all in that first sheet, which is tips for check-in. Eric, do you want to mention the for health forms, the sort of best practice that makes your life the easiest and check-in the smoothest?
Absolutely. So it is easiest for me to go through the health forms if, first of all, they're all completed, all signed, all parts are there, A, B, and C, nothing missing. Secondly, if they are in already stapled together too, by the way, A, B, and C stapled together for each person. It's best if they are not in plastic sleeves, because what happens is then I have to pull them out individually, and that takes time pulling them out, and especially trying to slide them back in and all. So you can certainly have them in a binder if that's what you want. hole punch them and stick them in a binder. Just don't put them in the sleeves, or you can put them in a file folder. That's fine too. Again, each scout or camper, A, B, and C stapled together. It's not necessary to have them in alphabetical order or anything like that. It is helpful to have the adults separated from the youth, because there is a certain different amount of information there that I accumulate. But also, if this would also be helpful too. If you have a scout camper leader or youth that has some kind of significant health concerns, pre-existing health condition, and I'm not talking about your usual run-of-the-mill minor things, but significant health concerns where they're going to need some kind of potential accommodations or anything like that, please email me and let me know that ahead of time. That can shorten up a lot of time at check-in if I know about that ahead of time, because a lot of times I will reach out to the parent ahead of time and have a conversation with them. And then I don't have to take time, with the troops sitting there to talk with the leader and or the youth at check-in. And I will put my email in the chat.
Great, thanks, Eric. A couple of questions. Yes, everyone needs a buddy tag, whether you're an adult or a youth, need a buddy tag. Second, you will see in the instructions, or not, the tips for check-in, bring your scouts either in swimsuits or with their swimsuits in a string bag on their back. We are not guaranteeing that you will go to your campsite and unpack before you go do your swim check. We lose tons of time every year with units that go to the campsite, and then it takes forever to get kids in swimsuits. And by then, if we've got 1 o'clock check-in, you're not to the pool till 2:30, and the whole schedule for trying to get people to come in a staggered way is destroyed. So, yep, I know that Scouts BSA likes you to travel in the scout uniform. If that's your troop's policy, wear a swimsuit under your scout shorts, rock and roll. Our goal is to get you into camp as efficiently as we possibly can. All right. Evening program. Bob couldn't be with us tonight. We've got a lot of things planned for you. This is our draft of the evening programs. I'm only going to highlight a few where it may be that a unit wants to bring their own gear. But sorry about that, Ken. I know it's small on the screen. First of all, on Sunday, we have our opening show in which everyone will attend there in our amphitheater outside the dining hall. On Monday night, we have the opportunity for scouts to earn fireman chit and totem chit. We'll have OA night, their open swim and troop swims, as well as a game night that will be coordinated by a number of the program areas in camp. And our astronomy session will be that night. On Tuesday night, we have speed climb. We have Scout Zone service. We have open swim and troop swims again. And we'll have a camp-wide patrol competitions event. Wednesday, we have the Rumble at the Aquadome, which is obviously a perennial favorite at Pipsico Scout Reservation. On Thursday, we have the Wilderness Survival and the Huskanaw overnights. We'll again have open swim and troop swims, movie night, and then the Scoutmaster Cook-Off. And I'll let Lisa speak to the Scoutmaster Cook-Off in just a minute. And Friday night has the closing campfire, and there will be open shoots as well and open climbs that we will schedule and announce. Open swim is obviously open. Troop swims, you'll sign up once you're at camp for troop swims. So just wanted to give you an overview of the program, evening programs that our team has been busy coordinating under Bob Buter's leadership and the leadership of all of our area directors. Lisa, I thought was on, but I was wrong about Rick. So Lisa, if you're on, do you want to talk a little bit about the Scoutmaster Cook-Off? Maybe Lisa's not there. All right. Well, I'll handle that one too. folks ask us about this. What we tell folks is if you want to participate, the safest bet is always to bring your own equipment. It's a dessert or entree of your choice. Feel free to bring supplies or equipment, but understand there's a grocery store about 25 minutes away. And you don't have to do camp-wide quantities. The judges are our dining hall staff, and there's usually about 8 of them, and they only need a couple of spoons full. So keep that in mind if you are interested in participating in the Scoutmaster Cook-Off. Okay, anybody else from our team have anything that they wanted to cover from the Pipsico staff side? Speak up now if you do. All right, otherwise we'll open the floor to questions. I'm going to go ahead and close the slides so that I can see more people. Go ahead, Ken.
Yes, John, thank you. I just saw something on the edge of my screen about the Friday night dinner. Are we going to have family night again this year?
Sorry. Yes, we can have families out for dinner on Friday night. I don't have the cost available right now. I'll have to ask Lisa what that is.
Okay, I think it was 5 last time we did it.
It may be 5. I'm not going to commit to that until I check with Lisa.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I can tell you it won't be more than 10.
Okay. Another question, and this is kind of specific to our unit, but how will having 2 scouts who are arriving later than the rest of the troop impact our check-in?
Yeah, so we'll just bring them in when they check in, and we will separately handle their visit with the medical officer for medical check review and for swim check. We'll deal with them when they get here, and we'll just handle them as one-offs. We have a number of scouts who are like provisional, come in one on their own, and we'll just handle them the same as those folks, and then we'll hook them up with your unit.
Okay, both of those late scouts we have already done their swim test with the troop, but we do have one scout that will be joining us that has not taken it and will need to go to his swim test. We
Perfect.
have only.
We'll handle those as one-offs, Ken, and if the swim test is already done and we've got the appropriate forms, then that'll just eliminate a step in the process.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question. It's hard to see everybody, so feel free to speak up if you have a question.
Hey, John, I have a question.
Okay, yes. Is it Skip? You go by Skip?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Skip, great to meet you.
I have some of my daughter George, she could be working with the staff.
Oh, got it. Yes, we've met before. I'm with you now.
Yeah, Troop 5800. I do have some girls going to Huxanol, but I only have one female adult leader with me. How's that going to be covered at Huxanol? And are you aware of my Italian possible scout?
So yes to your possible Italian scout, and we would love to have them. That would be fantastic. And I'm working with Laura on that. So that would be great if we can get them to join us. On their first question, Huskanaw, one of our Huskanaw staffers is an over 18 female. So we should have that covered by staff without any problem.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for the question.
Ashley Miller with Troop 2815.
Yeah, great.
Is there anything special that we need for our scuba scouts?
I can't think of anything special other than make sure that they can pass a swim test. They have swim trunks. They have a towel. The overnight camp, I think we pretty much provide everything. If as backup, if they want to bring their own tent, then that's just an added safety feature for when they do their overnight up at the lake for their dive on whatever that is, Thursday morning or Friday morning. We have all the food service. We all have all the food stuff. We have all the cook equipment and so forth.
So there's no other special equipment, or I do know they need the secondary physical in addition to the ABC, but no special equipment or anything like that that they need to bring.
Yeah, let me just, Christy Cooper interfaces with our partners who help with diving. So let me just let her correct anything I said that was incorrect.
Yeah, so if they would like to bring a tent to sleep in, that would be preferable, so we can ensure everybody has one. It is in a tree kind of setting. Some did use hammocks last year. That's kind of on a basis of if you can find the trees that coordinate with that, but there is availability of that as well. I would encourage to bring a tent and your sleeping gear to go off-site for one night. No mess kits or anything like that. We take care of all that portion of it.
Very good. Thank you.
They just mentioned about the scuba, about an extra physical. Is there something I missed about that? Is there an additional physical they need to do or paperwork other than the ABC form?
There is paperwork that the dive shop will be getting to you. He told me within the next week. There is actually some online portion of items that have to be completed as well. They handle all of that because they are the ones that certify you. But you should be getting that email directly from them within the next week.
Okay, good. Thank you.
We got an email about 2 weeks ago. Is that the same email?
If it was from Chesapeake Bay Diving, yes.
No, it wasn't. Okay.
All right.
My son is doing the Sail Hampton Roads program, and we're wondering if he needs to have a certain type of specialized shoe to wear on the boat.
Before I answer that, Wes, are you on tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wes, you want to handle the Sailhampton Roads questions for us, please?
Yeah. So there's a detailed description of just marking shoes inside the leader's guide. If you read in there, but basically it's just a shoe that isn't going to leave black streaks on the boat.
Okay, understood. Is there anything else that specialized stuff that we should know for that program?
Just reference the special summer programs guidebook. It's got a packing list in there. It talks about pack light and pack tight and other information about how the cruise operates.
Thank you so much.
Great. Laura Florsheim, I think you have your hand up. I'll kind of work my way across the folks who have their hands up.
Yeah, my question, I've been asked by our patrol leaders, are there going to be any kind of unit award opportunities, honor awards? I know they've got the typical usual spirit stick that goes on throughout the camp through the week.
Wes Sherman's our camp commissioner. He's on. Do you want to talk about that, Wes?
Yeah, we are still going to iron out the final details on that this coming staff week, but it's going to be along the lines of what we had done the past couple of years. I know you guys have been up there last summer.
So for those who haven't been with us before, Wes, do you want to describe what that is?
In general, the troop and patrol participation awards are more pretty much keeping up with participating in the camp-wide events, maintaining a campsite of a reasonable cleanliness and fairly fundamental things. As long as they put a little bit of effort into it, it doesn't really require a lot of advanced planning outside of what we do when we're actually physically up there. Other than that, it's nothing. The spirit stick is kind of awarded out by the staff in general to not necessarily set requirements for that. That is more just kind of as something as we see feeling that meets recognition. So.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Wes. Alice, you have a question?
I do. So earlier today, I could still add participants, although I don't see that option right now. But we have an adult who would like to come down Sunday night to help transport kids and then leave Monday and then come back on Friday, stay the night, and then leave Saturday with the troop. Is there any issues with that? And then would I just sign them up for, because Sunday's not an option to check for them, would I just sign them up for the Monday and then Friday?
Alice, why don't we take that one offline and try to
Sure.
figure out a solution, since that's a very unique one-on-one
Sure.
situation, but I'd be happy to do that. I'll put my cell phone number in the chat and we can chat tomorrow if that's okay.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. But that may take a little more time than just kind of dashing it off for everybody here. Okay, so my cell phone's in the chat now, Alice. But Lauren?
Hi, I'm from Troop 998 in Leesburg, Virginia. Our troop wanted to check out on Friday night. I didn't know if there's a special process for that or how that would work.
Yeah, if you want to check out on Friday night, Lauren, we will do our best to accommodate that. What I will tell you is I do not guarantee that the merit badge records will be ready when you depart, because our staff usually works on that into the night on Friday. So I cannot guarantee that. But if you want to check out on Friday night, we'll make that happen as best we can. I will tell you that our Friday night campfire program is probably, our closing show is probably not over until 9 or 9:30. So it would be dependent on whether you want to miss that or not. We would love for you not to miss it, but that's your troop's choice.
Okay.
Yep.
Couple other quick things. We intend to do a swim test for our scouts tomorrow or in a couple nights. Is that advantageous to do that? I mean, are they going to have to go? Oh, okay. So do I just have to bring some kind of proof of their skill level, or, how does that work?
There's actually a official form we have to have, Lauren, and we'll need to connect you with Rick McElrath, our aquatics director, to make sure that you have that correct information.
Okay.
So let me make a note of that, and I'll try to connect you and Rick tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. The test is Thursday.
The swim test information, John, is also in the leader's guide on page 22, the second to last page.
Thank you. Wes is my guy who's memorized the leader's guide, so that's incredibly helpful. So Lauren, check that leader's guide. The form is right there. That's the form we'll need.
And do you need that form on every scout or just one?
It's a form you'll need to fill it out or you will need to fill it out so that each scout is or adult is listed on the form.
Okay, very good.
But do not color in the buddy tags. We will color in the buddy tags once we confirm the report.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Is it Murphy? That's all I can see on the screen.
Yeah, it's Murphy. Everybody calls me that. Regarding the secondary physical, can you go into more detail? This is my first time heading up, and I think we signed up for the scuba certification as well as the scouts. So I just want to know what the requirement is for the adults.
Sure, let me let Christy answer that.
So it is just a physical form that they have to have a few extra questions asked because you're wearing breathing gear. So there's some extra questions as far as that. It's not anything super detailed that you can't answer. They just need to make sure if you're going to be able to have any breathing issues or anything like that prior to coming.
Okay, so it's nothing that has to be signed off by like a medical practitioner of any kind.
Correct.
It's like a self-service survey type thing.
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right. Before we go to the next question, Wes, can you tell us the page number of the swim form in the leader's guide again?
Page 22.
All right, it's in the chat. Great. Matt with Troop 375.
Yes, sir. I had two questions. We also are going to do the swim test for everybody. So with that said, coming into camp, if we have everybody swim tested, they don't need to have their swim gear ready to go again, do they?
That would be logical.
Yeah, I'm just going over what was in the chat. So I was just trying to clarify that. So
yeah, what I don't want to say is I don't want to say that as a general rule because very few troops do their swim test in advance. So if you're doing a swim test in advance, come however you want to come. If you have not done your swim test, come in a swimsuit.
All right, just want to clarify. My second question is this underwater basketry. Is that a joke, or because I've got a scout that will not get near the pool if there's a basketry merit badge in that pool?
What is so?
There was something about underwater basketry.
I know what it is. That's a scout who wants to take basketry who won't get in the pool, or that's a scout
will not get near the pool. He's automatically going to be a non-swimmer when he arrives. So
oh no, that's fine. We'll do basket. Like it is not a joke. Like literally, they can sit in the shallow end and do basketry. But if he doesn't want to, we'll do it down in the handicraft area. Not a problem.
Okay, I just wanted to. I didn't know what was going on with that, so thank you.
No, it can sometimes get hot, and so sitting in the shallow end doing basketry can be a good way to cool off.
All right, I appreciate it.
You bet. Mr. Washington.
Yes, how you doing?
Great, good to see you.
Same here. Hey, are you going to publish minutes from this meeting?
What types of minutes would be helpful to you? I was going to post the video from the meeting, but if we need some kind of minutes, we could probably gin something up.
If you post a video in a timely manner, then that will work.
We'll have it posted by tomorrow. Christy, confirm I'm right. Yep, we'll have it posted by tomorrow.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Kevin.
Hi, Kevin Ivory, Troop 716, Fayetteville, North Carolina. You had talking about the COVID stuff earlier. So if we do the pre-COVID checks prior to coming there with the paperwork, and or if we get on site and someone shows symptoms or whatever, we deem they either can't come on our end before we leave, or you deem that somebody has to be sent home or what have you, what is there a just separate refund policy for that? Because I know if a scout can't go because of that, parents are going to start screaming because of refunds and this, that, and the other thing. What's your policy on that?
Yeah, we'll deal with it on a case-by-case instance. My hope is that we don't have any of those situations, but we'll deal with it on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, so gotcha. So it would be a different thing than if I said, hey, yet tomorrow I got 2 leaders that can't go for some other reason.
Correct.
This would be a different refund policy. Gotcha. All right.
We'll take it case by case.
What case by case? Understood.
Yep.
Thank you.
Allison.
Hi there. 998 Lee's. So just wanted, we were at Goshen last year, and with COVID, they did the wilderness survival differently. So we were just wondering, for the wilderness survival, for the overnight portion, what proximity are the kids to our site, or are they completely isolated?
Yeah. So Allison, you're breaking up. You're breaking up a little bit on me. I think the question you asked was if they're on the wilderness survival overnight, how far away are they? And if I got that correct, they're not that far away. So if there was a need to get to somebody, it would be easily achievable.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Shannon?
Sorry, I was trying to back out of the chat thingy. Are these older cots? So my son went to his first camp. They had the cots where you could put like the PVC pipe and put the bug netting over top of it. I was going to show the troop how to do that, but I wasn't sure if what they're sleeping on is the same style and they would actually be able to do that or not.
So our expert on cots is Wes Sherman, our camp commissioner. So I'll let him answer that.
Okay, they are a fairly standard stretched canvas kind of army cot with 2 detachable ends. So the supports, if you look them on the end, are kind of X's. There's a series of 3 X's in a row. So I'm not sure what specifically you're wanting clarification on.
So I guess when my son went to Bayport, the cots that they had, they took 4 PVC pipes, like I think an inch or a half inch.
Yeah.
Put them on the 4 corners somehow, and then put the bug netting over top of the whole thing. I didn't know if it was more like the soft canvas.
Yeah, they're kind of a soft canvas base that is workable, but you generally would, since you don't have an upright pole going directly from the corners to the ground, you almost kind of like tape it to the bottom of the foot and the outside corner. But yeah, PVC is still pretty much the standard way of doing it.
Okay, cool.
Hey, can I add my 2 cents?
I can tell you, I stayed at Bayport as a camp leader. I know exactly what you're talking about because I did that, and we have the same cot that they have there at Bayport.
Okay, cool.
I don't remember
This is at
Bayport's
JW
cots.
Washington. They're military cots, not army cots, military cots, and some of them are metal, some of them are made of wood. The ones that are metal, they have holes in them, and if you are somewhere near an army surplus store, you can buy the poles that go in those, and then the other ones are wood, and the ones that are made of wood, that's where you will need the PCV pipes.
Okay.
We were able to use the PVC pipes on those cots last year when we went to Pipsico.
Okay, cool.
You know what? A roll of duct tape lets you do a lot of things. So bring a roll of duct tape and they'll figure it out.
When in doubt, duct tape.
When in doubt, duct tape. Laura, you have another question?
Yeah, my other question is, how is going to be the open shoot going to work for archery, shoot, rifle range?
I'm not sure what you mean, how it's going to work, but kids are going to show up at the range at the open shoot time and they'll shoot.
Okay, so they just
am I
show up.
am I missing something in the question?
Oh, I'm just meaning, is it a sign up they're going to have to do early on? Is it just a show up during that time frame and it's first come, first serve, so that I can give the guidance to the PLs?
Yeah, more, I guess, subject to change during staff week when our shooting sports director figures it out. I would say it's going to be first come, first served, and we'll announce that information Sunday night at the leaders meeting.
Okay, perfect.
And I will say, with a caveat for that, historically, that sometimes does get time that gets acquired if we get a rainy first part of the week, and it negatively affects the shooting sports badges time on the range. Sometimes that time is used for making up for missing shooting time during the sessions. But that's only if we get bad weather and it negatively affects people qualifying.
Nope, totally understand. I'm just seeing an opportunity for the scouts that weren't able to get archery completed last year in the cohort model, that potentially they could finish their last requirements during open shoot this year.
That's a great point, Laura. And, you know, we try really hard to be accommodative. So we will do our best to accommodate those scouts. Just remind us, and, you know, if we have the flexibility, even for the folks who did most of the merit badge last year in the cohort model but couldn't finish, you know, let us think about that during staff week. But it's possible we could throw in a Monday, or not a Monday, excuse me, a 1 p.m. shoot or something like that for some of those people here or there a couple days to help them qualify. I appreciate you raising it. Let us think about that during staff week and see if we can come up with a better answer.
Okay, well, I can send Josh some information along when he shows up to report for staff week.
Great. Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks.
You bet. Lorraine?
Hi, I have a female troop that I'm bringing, and I know one of the questions that the parents had was, you know, assuming that we are going to share a site with another troop, are we sharing them same gender? Or are we sharing them with a boys troop?
Possibly, but if we did that, it would be that we would separate the campsites within the quote site number, so that a sole girls troop would not be proximate to a boys troop. That's what we did last year. The caveat, I guess one caveat to that, and I'm trying to answer these questions generically, but when folks come with a boys troop and a girls troop and they want to be in the same campsite for leadership purposes, we accommodate that. We try hard where we can, where it's a girls unit, to pair them up in campsites. So it's girl unit, girl unit. There are a couple of weeks where we're pretty crowded, and we'll kind of do our best, but at all times we'll try to make that separation for purposes of latrine space and all that sort of stuff.
Hey, John, can I chime in on that one? Lorraine, I'm Skip Brady. I'm the Scoutmaster for the Girl Troop 5800. We were there last year. We did share camp with other co-ed, you know, with other gender. The only issue is the latrine thing, but that's any time with adult and youth. They just have to put the sign up, woman or, you know, girls or boys. But it worked out fine. The boys are on one side of the site and the girls were at the other.
Yeah. All of our campsites are broken down into individual patrol sites, so it's easy to segregate.
Let's see. We'll go back to Murphy.
Hey, John. Just going back again, this is our first time going down there. Regarding the bug nets over the beds, we've been to similar camps where they have. I'm assuming it's like the canvas type tents over platforms. But okay, all right. So are there grommets on them that we could actually tie the bug nets into if we need to? If there's on.
There are grommets on the tents that you can tie into. Let me turn it over to. I shouldn't answer this. Let me let my camp commissioner, who's the expert, answer this. Wes, you want to handle that?
There
Wes,
are.
Give a picture, that'd be awesome.
They're the standard BSA wall tents.
All right, okay, all right.
If they
That's
got
blue?
they got the
That
seal and
aqua blue?
everything.
Okay.
Yeah, bluey, greeny, depends on
Okay.
the year. There are grommets. Tying to those is not necessarily the most reliable way to get something to stand up, but as long as it's not doing something that is damaging the tent, tying to them is not really the biggest deal. I will warn against people tying into the ties that are on the tents, the pieces that are designed to tie the flaps, because more often than not, they get those things really knotted, and then you can't get it separated. And you got a permanent knot, and you got to cut the tent or cut the net to separate them. That is something we do not want to see. I don't really have an issue with somebody using one of the grommets on the tent. It's when you start using the ties, it's a real issue. But again, a couple of sticks, some tape, a bit of PVC. There's a number of creative ways to rig those up. I think when I was up there with my troop last summer, because I was kind of dual rolling it, I had a gigantic one and I threw it halfway over the ridge pole and then down the corner to the grommet. So I wasn't using any of the ties, and that works just fine. It doesn't jeopardize anything.
So Murphy, I teleported myself. This is the style.
Yeah,
tent,
right. Yeah, this is what I'm looking at.
So
Okay.
that's
all right.
that's it. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet. Sonia or Sonia, I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
It's Sonia. Hi, my name is Sonia from Troop 2801 in Chesterfield,
Hey,
Virginia. I have a couple questions. Are the scouts allowed to bring their own tents if they don't want to get in those tents?
Yep, you can bring your own tent, no problem there. And there's been a question in the chat a number of times about Huskinaw overnight. If they want to bring their own troop tent, because that's what they're comfortable setting up, that's really helpful. What's your next question there, Sonia?
My next question is shower houses. Are they separate from females and males, or is they all the same?
So our main shower house is individual units. So one scout at a time, closed door, individual units. There's also showers at the pool, which are more open showers, the boys side, girls side. And at this point, we have to do the flipping for adult versus not adult. But the main shower house is individual showers.
Yeah. The only thing about the tents is one of the BSA standards is we just have to post on all tents that are being used, no flame intent. So we could rig that up ahead of time, but that's the only other consideration.
No, say that again. No wedding?
No flames.
No flame intent. We just have to have it posted on the tent to make national standards. That's something I'm going to rig up some signs ahead of you guys coming out to place on anybody's own tent.
Sounds good. My last question is about CPAP people. Is there any electricity, or I spoke to somebody from you all's what is it called? Heart of Tidewater or whatever it's called, that said something about a car battery thing for your CPAP. I've never heard of that before.
So I'm going to be the first one to say I don't know much about CPAPs. I will tell you about our camp, which is that we have power in only a few sites. And so I would welcome Wes Parker or other folks who are maybe attuned to the electricity or CPAP issues to chime in and help us here.
I'd love to jump in. I'm sorry. This is Dana Reed from Troop, not 242, but 29 in Hampton. So what we've done, what you're talking about with the battery jumper, is if you go to like Walmart and you look in the section, the automotive section, they actually have a big battery pack that's rechargeable, and it has jumper cables on it that you can actually use to jump your car. In addition, it has plugs on it, like 2 AC plugs, a couple of USB plugs, and it's silent. And then you just recharge it. You charge it up, use it at night, and then you could take it up to the Burton Center and recharge it during the day. And you just carry it with you. It's like 5 to 8 pounds. They also sell them at Costco. I actually have 2 of them. They're about 5 pounds, and they have, they're just little battery packs with a flashlight on them. And
I know.
Wonderful. And they're rechargeable. You can use solar panels to charge them. You can use AC to charge them, but they provide you the AC and everything overnight, and they're silent.
They're also called jump boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones with the jumper cables. The ones from Costco don't have the jumper cables on them. They are exclusively power boxes. that's up to you, but they run anywhere from 100 to probably $200.
Thank you.
And real quick, just to add, regarding power, so there is a item or line in your registration form within Blackpug to indicate if you need power for medical devices. We have access to power in 5 campsites. So obviously if your unit, checks that box and inputs that information into your registration, when we're doing site assignments, we try to prioritize based on that. But, keep in mind, power doesn't mean literally at your physical tent. It just means within the site. So you would need to bring a couple 100 feet of extension cord. That's why the battery packs, like she just described, are really the best bet. So it's right there next to you.
Great. Let's see, Laura.
Hey, John.
Oh, Skip's got one right
This
there.
is a portable power station. Got it off of Amazon for like $140 in the last 3 days for CPAP before you need to charge it. It's real lightweight too, and it's quiet. It has USB, AC, and DC.
That's exactly what looks almost identical to the ones that I have. Yep.
Great. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's really helpful. I forgot where I was. Laura, was I with you?
No, I'm all set. I just forgot to lower my hand. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
great. Well, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Sonia?
Oh, I'm good. I'm sorry. I just need to
Okay,
move.
great. Thank you. Allison?
I'm good.
Okay, great. Does anybody else have questions for us?
I have a question.
Sure.
My name's Greg Gick. I'm from Troop 417 out of Sykesville, Maryland. We had a new scout that joined the troop and wants to go to summer camp, and we are trying to update our roster on the site right now, and we cannot figure out how to get it updated. Is there anybody that can help me with that?
Yeah, Christy, you want to jump in?
Yeah, we're at the point that any additions have to kind of go through the admin. So I will get with you. I wrote your name down here. What unit did you say you're with?
417 out of Sykesville, Maryland.
All right. I will get with you and we can get that accomplished easily.
Okay, thank you.
Dennis?
Yeah, I apologize if this was already covered. Came in late. I was doing an FOS presentation for a different unit. So I'm Scoutmaster of Troop 10V out of Hampton, Virginia. My question is about family night, kind of how that works, if they do a family night, and what the expectations and all that are with that. Thank you.
Yeah, so family night is basically Friday night. It is, they can come out for dinner and then stay for our evening program, which is our closing campfire show. And that's basically the extent of it. And by the way, God bless you for doing FOS presentations. Thank you for your efforts there. As a former council chair for the FOS, I appreciate people like you who go out and make it happen. So thank you for that.
These are FOS dollars in action right here. So is there an additional, speaking of fees, is there additional fee for that family night? Or
yeah, for families who want to have dinner, as I mentioned, or I know you missed it, I mentioned earlier, I don't have the price list in front of me, and unless Christy has it handy, we can put that up tomorrow in the resources page. I think in the past it's been somewhere between $5 and $10, but I don't think it'll be more than $10.
Thank you.
You bet. We'll look forward to seeing you. Dana?
Hey, John, I'm back. Hey, speaking of adjusting rosters, there's been a couple of changes. Long story short, I'm now taking over for Troop 29 coming up for the boys and the girls. And there's a couple of people that need to come of our roster that are not going. Is that log in and remove them, Christy? And they're going to need refunds? do I need to contact you, Christy, directly on that one, or?
Yeah, Dana, contact Christy directly on that and recognize and look at the leaders guide where we are in the refund calendar.
Got it.
We're pretty late on the refund side.
I will talk when I get up there later, but.
Okay, sounds
they're
good.
aware of that, but I definitely want to get the count, the head count for you guys updated.
Great, I appreciate that. We'll honor whatever our policy says at this time. I don't have it in my head what the refund policy is at this late date, but we'll honor that. But just prepare them that it's not 100, or I mean, I'm not even sure it's 50% at this point. Christy, do you remember?
It's no refunds after June 1st.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, okay, that makes that easy. So,
Yeah.
but Christy, to let you know which ones aren't coming, just so we can update the roster, unless I can do that online, or I'll just, can you put your number in the chat, Christy, so I can call you? Or
Yeah, I put my email in there, and I will put my number as well. And yeah, we can talk about that. But yeah, after June 1, there is no refunds on anything. So.
Okay.
You like the way I made Wes and Christy the bad guys on that one. So.
And I'm just the messenger here. I tell people what I've been told. So, hey.
Yeah, I hear you.
Thanks.
All right,
Appreciate it.
you bet. I'm gonna mispronounce it. Is it Varun? Varun? How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's okay. It's Varun.
Varun. Okay, nice to meet you, Varun.
Thanks. Same here. And thank you. The information that y'all have provided, better than we see at a lot of summer camps. We change up where we go each year. Just a quick question. I can't recall, have camp sites been assigned for week 1?
Yeah, good question. They have not yet. And Wes and Wes will be working on that over the next week or so. We often don't give those out until we get there for these very reasons, where we have people canceling out some folks and all that. And we try to make the units fit within the campsites. So candidly, we give ourselves a little flexibility to make everybody fit. Great, thanks. Okay, Troop 48.
So I have a question regarding the family night. And
sure, what's your name?
Melissa.
Melissa, great.
Robertson.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Regarding if the family does come up, like if we have a parent or they're actually leaders that want to come up and we're a little distance away, are they allowed to stay overnight, and what is that process on?
I haven't thought about that one. Let me lean on some people who maybe have thought about that in the past. Wes Parker, what have we done there, if you know?
So it really depends. It's kind of on a case-by-case basis, because I mean there are requirements with youth protection, and also checking in, and also the COVID era, brings in new complications. So if you just send an email to summercamp@pipsicovsa.com, that goes to John, Christy, and myself, and we can get it figured out.
Okay. Yeah, these particular ones are actual adult leaders.
Yeah, that's a good solution, because we would also need medical forms A and B, because they're staying less than 72 hours. We would need youth protection, make sure they're youth protection, all that sort of stuff. So shoot us an email. We'll try to figure something out.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. All right. I don't know. Is it Montana D?
Yeah, it's Debbie, Montana. Sorry.
All right, Debbie. Nice to see you, Debbie.
I got on late, and I apologize for asking this because I was catching remarks about the COVID. With the COVID issues coming up, do you want everybody having their temperature taken before we leave for camp? I mean, we always do we know if anybody's been exposed to COVID, and we know if, they had to quarantine themselves, but what we don't know is what their temperature is. Do you want us taking their temperature before we come?
So we're not going to tell you how to screen your youth for health issues before you leave. What we've said is to please try to screen them. Don't bring anybody who's sick. Know that we will do on-site screening when we get there. If somebody pops a test, anybody in that vehicle will be at risk. Those are kind of the parameters that we gave at the outset of this call. for the unit's responsibilities.
Okay. All right. That's what I needed. Thank you.
You bet. And I should say pre-camp unit responsibilities. Eric, supplement that as our health officer. I should have let you answer that. I apologize.
Oh, no, that's fine. So in our resource bank on the PipsicoBSA.com site is this pre-event health screening that I have on the screen for you. And this is what we're asking every participant to complete. And one of those questions, of course, is a fever of 100.4 or greater. So, that is, temperature is one of the things to be looking for. And you can see there, it basically says if they have symptoms, then they need to go ahead and stay at home. And so we're asking this to be done, of course, prior to you even leaving the parking lot to head for camp, to make sure that they're not showing any of these level 1 symptoms or 2.
Okay.
Yeah, great. And that's why I should have let Eric answer in the first place. He's the one on top of that for us. So thank you, Eric, for amending my answer. Carolyn?
Hi there. Yeah, thank you. I have a question, 2 questions in the chat, actually. Other camps we've been to, they've required us to bring the leader YPT training sort of roster. Do you guys need that for check-in? That's
So
something you've already. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to ask. So in your registration, so we request youth protection dates for adult leaders in the registration. So that's the easiest thing to do, because if you don't have it in there, then we're going to be asking you for it.
Okay. Okay. I'll double check to make sure it's in there. A different adult did the actual registration, so I'll double check to make sure it's in there. And then the other question I had was the attendance roster that's in the resource center. Is that something we need to fill out and bring with us, or you have it because of Black Pug?
That's for weekend events. Everything is through registration.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we should mention that when you look at your packet, that if you're a week 1 or 2 unit, you will have received a check-in packet from us in the mail. If you're week 3 or 4, that's coming. In that packet, it talks about the check-in procedure. One of the first stop will be on the porch of the Burton Center, where you will meet Christy Cooper, and she will go through your Black Pug participant by participant for who's there, check them all in. And so if we have that information in Black Pug, it makes it go pretty quickly.
Great, thank you.
You bet. Laura, your hand's up.
Hey, John, when you guys go and post the price for the meal tomorrow, you might want to put in the location of where people buy the ticket.
Yeah, sure. So it'll be in the Burton Center with Miss Christie, but we will definitely do that, Laura. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, well, it used to be in the trading post, was where we used to have to get the tickets before. So I wasn't sure what the plan was.
I think without talking to her, it'll likely be Christie, but if we change that, we will do it accordingly. But we will definitely put that information out, and we'll also have it posted on Friday nights at the Burton Center.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys putting this all together. This has been really helpful.
Yeah, and you're welcome. And thank you for the questions, because we think we've thought through most things, but every now and then we get a question that says, let's revisit that. So the Parents' Night questions are really helpful in that regard. Debbie, you have another question?
I think you just answered that, but if we have people, on Sunday, when they get there and check in, we may have a certain count for Friday night, but if parents change their mind and decide on Wednesday that they want to come, is that too late, or can we still do that?
No, it should be fine if you let us know by Wednesday. That shouldn't be a problem at all. And just, remember, when we're talking about these visitors, every visitor has to sign in at the Burton Center that they're in camp, and they have to sign out when they leave. So, keep that in mind, that the first point of contact for anybody coming from the parking lot is going to be the Burton Center. So we'll have plenty of opportunities to work out their entrance, exit, and purchase of tickets. And again, if we move it to the trading post, they'll know that right away because we'll tell them that when they sign into camp at the Burton Center.
Great. Okay, thank you.
I'd also like
Yep.
to update one thing on that. If you have scouts leaving individually on Friday, which it does happen, we do require whoever is leaving with them a photo ID. We take a copy of a photo ID and they sign that scout out as well as the leader's approval so that we know they're allowed to leave with that person.
Yeah, great
Hey,
addition,
John.
Christy. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, Brian Phillips here.
Hey, Brian, thank you.
How you doing? It's good. Good talk to you. I just want to do my standard pimping for Pipsico because our troop has been to Pipsico, I think 8 times out of the last 12 years because we thoroughly enjoy Pipsico. It's a fantastic camp. We are coming from out of council, and we can keep coming back to this. The adults don't make the decision; the scouts do. We give them options, and more often than not, they choose Pipsico. It's the best camp I think that we've been to, and if you haven't been here before, your scouts and the adults will have a great time. The staff is fantastic. And I also want to put it in words for, I heard one or two people mentioning Southampton Roads. I've done that with 3 different sets of scouts on 3 different times. And that is also a fantastic high adventure program. I can't say good enough things about the Southampton Road program. Overall, the Tidewater Council Summer Camp program at Pipsico is awesome. Just be ready to have a good time, and you won't regret your choice.
Brian, thank you. Thank you for that. I'm glad we have that recorded. We'll chop that video up and post it.
Well, you've got it in writing too.
I know you. Brian is a huge supporter of Pipsico Scout Reservation. We are very grateful for that. And you may have seen some of his endorsements online, and we're really excited to have you back. Shannon?
Yes, this is about the Scoutmaster Cook-Off. Is that individual per Scoutmaster, or is that one like a combined effort for each troop?
You know what? Lisa's not on here, so I'll make an executive decision that you can do it either way.
Okay.
You can do it any way you want. We just welcome the participation.
Okay.
Rarely do we say no to extra food.
Especially if it's desserts.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, right on. Although I'm not a dining hall staff judge, but I will participate if you're cooking something good.
Oh, you mentioned dining hall. I want to throw one extra comment in there. The dining hall staff, the food is fantastic. Pretty much everything is fresh cooked. Very little of it is prepackaged and canned. The food is very good, and you shouldn't go hungry with the amount of offerings with things like the salad bar. So you'll enjoy the dining hall as well. Plus, it's air conditioned.
All right, Brian, thank you so much for that. I owe you an alligator ice when you get there. Anybody else have questions tonight? Mr. Eric does.
No, I was just going to, somebody asked earlier on the chat about medications, and it occurred to me that that does come up during check-in fairly often. So medications, for youth, we prefer the leaders to handle that in the troop. And the main reason is so it doesn't disrupt program by them having to leave program to come to the health lodge to do something that they can do at a more convenient time in their campsite with the leaders. And also the leaders are usually much more attuned to when it is most appropriate to give the medication and how it is most appropriate to give the medication, and keep track of that. Now, having said that, I do have a refrigerator in the health lodge for anything that needs to be refrigerated. I know there are certain medications that require it. And of course, if it's a situation where medication needs to be administered in a more clean and sterile environment, particularly things like involving like syringes, needles, insulin pumps, things like that, would totally accommodate that. But generally, I try not to get involved in the medications at a troop level. Just thanks.
Well, we're going to take 2 more questions tonight. I put my email into the chat as well, so folks have that. We'll do Matt and Lorraine. Matt, go ahead first.
All right. Mine's a throwaway question, so if you don't want to count it, I'd be remiss if I did not ask if the Gaga pit is going to be available to the scouts. I know Eric likes to keep control of that over there. Sometimes it can get a little haywire over there, but I didn't know if there's any safety precautions that were going to be instilled for this year for the Gaga pit, or I'd be remiss if I didn't ask about the Gaga pit.
Yeah, so tell your scouts the Gaga pit will be available, and it's a love-hate relationship with that thing. They love it, and well, it's a love-hate relationship. No, it's a great thing. Kids have a lot of fun. Obviously, we kind of lean on adult leaders to help us keep an eye out over there to keep it safe. And Eric and his team often kind of wander that way in the evenings to sort of supervise a little bit. We welcome adult leaders to help us supervise it to keep it fun and safe. Eric, anything you want to add to that answer?
No, just for folks new to Pipsico, if you're not familiar with Gaga Ball, you can do some research on it. But we do, and many people don't realize this, we do have rules and guidelines posted on the wall of the Gaga pit, so that there is hopefully less arguments about what is okay and what's not okay. And it includes capacity limits on the Gaga pit so that there's not too many scouts in there at one time.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is we always welcome help with making sure it gets cleaned up after use in the evenings. I'll do a couple of things to periodically to enforce the scout law. Scout is clean, and we've done that at some of the flag ceremonies and so forth to remind folks to take their trash, their shirts, their water bottles, their sunglasses, and all the other sundry items that, if left for too long, go to the staff auction at the end of the summer and raises some money for FOS. Lorraine?
Just real quick, I am also out of council, and if you could hook up Laura Florsheim when she gets there week 1, she is solely responsible for my troop coming down. Her youth gave a great presentation, and my youth, after we saw that, we took it and they wanted to go. So she is solely responsible for us coming down, and they're very much looking forward to it.
Well, that's terrific. I guess now I have to buy Laura an alligator ice also.
Definitely hook her up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a different job than camp director to afford all these alligator ices. All right. Well, listen, I think it's been a terrific meeting. We love you all. We thank you for what you do for scouting and for young people. We're going to try to do our part over the next few weeks to support your unit program, which is the goal and mission of Pipsico Scout Reservation. I didn't get a chance to introduce all of our area directors who are on tonight. You've met most of them on prior calls. I will just say that I'm incredibly proud of this team and the amount of work that they've been putting in the off season. And so we've had a few folks just get back from National Camp School. Their enthusiasm level is incredibly high. And so we look forward to welcoming you at Pipsico Scout Reservation, the first of you in like 10 or 11 days. So we're going to get to work Saturday and Sunday and all of next week getting ready for you. And we will see you soon. Take care. Scout on.
Rock on.